Hello, hello again. I am so happy to see you back at the Great Bright Futures Baking Show. I'm Miss Kate. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making Monster Rice Krispie treats. Now I know Halloween was a few weeks ago, but Rice Krispie treats are delicious, first of all. And secondly, who doesn't love to make a little monster now and then, right? So we are going to make Monster Rice Krispie treats today. There are two different ways that you can make this. You can make this over the stove with a grown-up's help, or you could also use a really big bowl, melt your butter in the bowl in the microwave, and then place your mini marshmallows in the microwave. Don't go too much because marshmallows, I don't know if you've ever done that experiment, but they do explode in the microwave, so don't let them explode. So what you'd want to do is do short, maybe 30 seconds at a time, and then stir, and then 30 seconds more, and then stir, and then 30 seconds more, and then stir. And that's if you don't have access to a stove, which is the top part of the oven, or if your grown-up isn't home and you just want to make them yourself, do it in the microwave, friends. It's that easy. I'm gonna do it over the stove today because that's what our directions call for. But yeah, follow along. This is gonna be so great. I have everything in front of me ready to go. Just a little FYI, I will be having different Rice Krispies because I couldn't find any plain ones. So I'm going to be having chocolate monsters, which I am kind of pumped about because I love a chocolate Rice Krispie treat. But everything else will be the same, so don't let that throw you. And let's have some fun making some Rice Krispie treat monsters. Okay, we are at our stove, my stove. First, the pan. We have an aluminum pan. If you want to spray it with cooking spray, that's your choice. I'm probably not going to because it doesn't stick super a lot in these pans. If you're using a pan from home, you will have one of these if you want to. But if you're using a pan from home, then maybe, yes, I would spray. But I'm not going to, so that's totally fine. Now, I have my large pot. Hopefully you have a large pot at home. I'm going to melt my butter over low heat. So first I'm going to turn my stove on. And I'm going to turn it down to a lower heat. I don't want to burn the butter. I just want to melt it. Just want to melt it so it's beautiful and melty. And I can mix my marshmallows with it. This is my bag. I'm going to wait a minute because I need to make sure that this melts. So I'm going to let this guy melt around. Nice and lovely. Just like magic, our butter is pretty much melted. It's just starting to make that little bubbly sound that sounds so nice. So as you can see, the butter is not being boiled. It is not bubbling too much, but we just wanted to make sure that that is all melted so that we can then combine our marshmallows. So I'm pouring the whole bag of marshmallows in. You're still over a low heat. Make sure you got every one of those in there. And then you're just gonna start mixing. You wanna cover all your marshmallows with this dreamy melty butter. I like butter, guys. I can't help it. It's just so good and delicious. And your marshmallows are gonna start also acting like they are melting. So they're gonna start getting a little bit stringy. I don't know if you can see that. Might stick to the pan a little bit, but just keep moving it so it doesn't burn. Remember, you're still on a low heat. And we wanna make sure that we melt these marshmallows. The goal is to melt them down, okay? So you can see it's starting to get a little bit more melty every time I flip them. But you don't wanna burn them, you just wanna get them to the point of melting. Then we're gonna take them off the heat. Remember, if you do this in the microwave, you're just doing 30 seconds at a time because you don't want your, well, you don't want your marshmallows to explode, but also you don't want that big mess in the microwave that you're gonna have to clean up later because that's gonna be real sticky and not anybody's jam. So keep stirring, keep mixing until all are combined and it doesn't look like you have any little lumps of marshmallow. It just looks mostly smooth. Awesome, we are getting to that point now where it's mostly smooth. Now it's your choice if you want to leave a couple of the, marshmallow bumps in there. I kind of like it because it gives it some texture. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn my heat off, totally off the heat, okay? So I'm gonna pick this up, there's no heat underneath. You can still kind of mix it. It's still really warm, so make sure you don't touch it with your hands because I don't want you to burn yourself. Now you're gonna need 6 cups to, well, before we actually do that, we're gonna first add the vanilla. So you have a little container of vanilla. This is like a 1/2 teaspoon. So we're just gonna add that in. Set that to the side, kind of give that a good mix around, right? Add a nice little vanilla flavor. And now you're gonna measure out 6 cups while this is still warm. So you got to kind of work a little bit quickly here. So I have my bag already open, my 1 cup measuring cup. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you guessed it, 6. Oh, we can have a nice little snack later. Okay, so now I'm going to mix all of this together until all of this is combined and there's no loose Rice Krispies, or in my case, chocolate Rice Krispies. The reason that mine are chocolate is because I couldn't find plain ones that were gluten-free. I could only find chocolate ones. So I'm not mad about it. I love it. So you want to keep moving it. This is a definite workout for the arm. You want to keep it going though. Keep it going. Make sure all your Krispies are coated. Did we know that rice is actually a grain? Hopefully you knew that. If you didn't, now you do. And so this is like puffed up pieces of grain. Mine are coated in chocolate, but yours are not. Yours will be plain. It's got a little bit of sugar to it, but overall, it's a nice little grain cereal. Okay. That looks pretty good and covered, don't you think? Great. Now I'm going to get my aluminum pan and I'm going to maybe ask for a grown-up's help with that. And I am going to pour my Rice Krispies into here and flatten them out. Be back in a minute. Here are the Rice Krispies. If you wanted to also spray your spatula with a cooking spray, that would kind of help them be a little bit more even pressed into the pan. But now we have to let them cool. So let's let them cool for roughly 10 minutes and then we can start working on our monsters. So set that aside, try not to go for it even though they are delicious. And we'll see you in 10 minutes. You can pause the video now. While our Rice Krispie treats are cooling, we are going to go ahead and start melting our chocolate. So, you've received 2 different colors. I'm going to be using red and blue for my monsters today. And we're going to put them into the microwave for 1 minute. So let's start with the red. Going to the microwave. We're going to put that into the microwave, into the paper bowl for 1 minute. And then you have to find your cook power. And we're only doing that at 50% because if it's full power, then we will burn that chocolate right away. And we're gonna let that cook. We have a spoon. Excuse me. And we're just gonna make sure that nothing is burning in there, okay? The goal is to not burn the chocolate, which is why it always needs to be less than 50%, or 50% power or less, I should say. I might just check on it just to make sure. How are we doing? Okay, still looking pretty all right. Just getting a little bit warm. Just want to make sure that all is happy in there. Because if we burn it, then we won't be able to use it for our monsters to coat them. And we definitely want to use that because they need little faces. Okay. Coming up on our minute, we're gonna gently take this out. That's a little bit warm. Okay, so since that wasn't the best angle, you see that it is starting to just melt. We're just being really gentle as we stir. I did just put it in for about 30 seconds, again on 50% power, and it looks like it might need maybe a little more, but maybe not. Let's just keep stirring to find out. Now just be careful because even though we're just using 50% power in the microwave, the bowl can still get hot, and I don't want you to hurt yourself or burn yourself. And this chocolate can also be very hot. So again, we want you to be really cautious. Maybe there's some grown-up help that could happen, but I think this is a pretty independent activity for most of our friends. So we see how that chocolate is just getting really creamy. Really nice color, very nice and red and monstery. There's still just a few little bits in there, so I'm just gonna put it in for like 10 more seconds to see if that helps just kind of, you know, melt it a little bit more. So that should do it. This is looking great. And now I need to do the same thing with the blue color. So if you'd like, you can pause the video. Remember that you're doing 1 minute at 50%, so you don't want to do full max. If you don't know how to go to cook time and only put in 50% cook power, what you can do is just do like 10 to 20 seconds at a time and then take it out of the microwave, stir, and then repeat and repeat and repeat until you have a solution or a mixture that looks like this. Okay? All right. So I'm gonna go do that with my other color, and then I'm gonna also cut the Rice Krispies into rectangles or whatever shape I want, and I'll meet you back here. You can go ahead and pause the video.
You were dying, dying, dying all day. Your sorrow like a flower. You're still crying, 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 crying.
Okay, so I just did a little cutout of sampling of the Rice Krispie treats. There's plenty more back in my tray, but I just wanted to kind of show you what you could do with your items for your monster. So I'm going to use the blue, and it's up to you if you wanted to dip or drizzle. I'm going to drizzle though because mine are a little bit sticky. So if you do have cooking oil at home, I think it would be awesome if you could use that. But I'm just gonna kind of like put the chocolate on here while it's nice and melty, right? If you don't want to drizzle, you could definitely dip. And so I'm just making like a little spot for his eyes. And then also I have sprinkles and eyeballs. So I want to make sure that I have plenty of space for any sprinkly doos. You have black sprinkles as well as colorful sprinkles, so however you want to decorate your little monster is up to you. And I have eyeballs. You have eyeballs. We all have eyeballs. Also for our monsters. I'm just gonna put, he's gonna be over here, and he doesn't have a perfect body. And is that okay? Absolutely. Monsters come in all shapes and sizes, as do people. Ooh, and so he kind of has like a crazy look about him, and I dig it. And then maybe he has freckles like me. So he's blue with freckles, and I'm cool with that. And now we'll make a red one. If you wanted to combine some of these colors together, you could try that and see what happens as an experiment. Just saying. All right, I think I'm gonna dip this one. Let's dip one. All right, we're dipping them in. It might be a good idea to put some parchment paper down or wax paper down here so that these guys can cool. Oh, look at that. Cool, cool, cool. Coolio. And I'm just gonna put a little bit more on because he didn't get enough of a dip. Dip in. Who doesn't love a good dip? Huh? Dip is great. Chocolate dip, regular dip, I don't know. There's all the different kinds, it doesn't matter. I might give this guy like a couple eyeballs because why not? I think it's kind of cool to get really creative and outside of the box. Oh, he's gonna have quite the eyeball set. If you want, oh, look at that eyeball, it's huge. I'm so excited about it. Oh, yep. There he goes, there he goes. Right in there. But you know what, he's a cheerful little fella or lady, whatever it wants to be. And so I'm gonna put some sprinkles that you also have on him or her or it. Let's call it an it. And it just looks a little bit more festive, right? I love it. These are so cute. So let's keep going and see what we come up with just these 5, and then we can have all the rest of the time to work on your rest of your pan. So this is a lot of creative fun. Hold on. If your chocolate starts to get a little bit hard because you haven't been using it, all you need to do is put it back into the microwave for that 30 seconds or 1 minute, but not at full power at 50%. See, now it's starting to harden. So you have to work with your chocolate while it's still warm. So now this is too cold to work with, but we'll throw it in the microwave and it'll just soften right back up. Now that everything is cleaned up, you have decorated and created any amount of monsters that you wanted to. You don't have to do them all. I only did a little bit and then I saved the rest, covered them in my box so that I could have some for later. But show us your monsters. Here's a nice little plate of our beautiful monsters. They actually look a little bit more cheerful than like monstery, but I'm okay with that. So be sure to show us on our Facebook page or send me some photos and show us what you guys create. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Great Bright Futures Baking Show. And I will see you next week when we create something else together. Have a great day.